Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this look. There are some peaks and troughs, things that I did maybe wrong or didn't quite work out throughout the video. I've left it all in because I think it's important to show a real example of what happens when you're trying to do something creative. It's the first time I've done this look and I'm really excited to share that with you. Okay, so for my rainbow eye look, I'm actually combining two palettes. Sorry, but I couldn't do all in any of the one palettes that I do have, so I'll be combining the Revolution Pro Abracadabra palette, which is currently on sale on the website, and the 24A Artist Pass from Morphe. That one's not on sale, but it is gorgeous and worth every penny, in my opinion. So I'm going to be combining those two. The brushes that I'm going to be using, one of them is actually from the Saweetie range, and it is a packing glitter brush. You don't have to use that. I quite often just use a flat brush to pack shimmers and glitters, but I thought since I do have it, I may as well give it a try, and I am using a lot of glitters today. So we'll be able to see then whether or not we think that that is actually worth it for that particular brush. It does come in the VIP sweep pack, which comes with a really cute little Morphe bag, and I love it to death, to be honest. I'm also going to be using, it's like a flathead brush. If you'll notice here, I'm really just showing it so that you can look at what you've got, because I don't think everyone knows the names of brushes or like uses a number, but this is just a French Connection one, and I'm going to be using this to pack pigment. And in order to blend, it's going to be this guy here, which is just a blending brush. It should have plenty of movement in that brush. So anything you've got that's similar to that would be the best ones to use to try and do this whole look. So yeah, I'm going to get started. So the first step is to actually prime your lid. I'm going to be using the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Priming Potion. I would usually use the NYX Glitter Primer. I just find that the effect is really great. It has a strong hold. Unfortunately, it is currently in London, which is where I should be. So I will be using this one today, and we will, I guess, learn together what that's going to look like. Okay, so I'm going to be starting with my mattes for the outside, and I'm going to be using my pigment packer to put that in the line from this side towards the inside, and I'm going to be going red on the inside, purple the outside, following the colours of the pride flag. Okay, so for these shades that I've used here just now, it is the Major Inspo, followed by Rider Sky, and then I used Under the Sun, and I topped it up a little bit with Get the Shot to make it slightly less of a neon look yellow. I then used Green Room, and I actually finished off with Desert Vibes and Indio Wool for the internal bits. I do think that it's a little underwhelming of a red, so what I'm going to do is actually use a little bit of red lipstick and put that on top, using just a lip brush rather than applying it straight. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so as you can see, that is a bit of a clearer colour, but this line is very sharp and you would still want to be blending that out. Now, because you're not wanting to blend the colours too much together, like it's already pretty much at the blend level that I would want, you just need to do tiny little circles at the area that you're looking to blend and circle sort of up and out from each colour. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so that is a lot more blended out. Honestly, I've not really went onto my lid too much with that because of the nature of the brush that I use, but I am still going to use the Cut Crease. And so this is from Revolution, and it's Cut Crease Canvas, and it's called Illustrate or Fair shade. That's super backwards. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that now. It's my first time using it. It's an awful lot of product on the brush, which makes me a little nervous. But what you're just looking to do is go on and make that shape. I've got that all over my lashes. Okay, so for me, this is like seriously too much product that's coming off. And I'm not a huge fan. I think that I'm needing to really control my hand at the moment to try and get this crease. And given that I'm not really someone who does cut crease usually, this seems like it's quite difficult to me. And it's really catching my eye. Like, do you see that? Like, it's starting to, so that's quite strange. I'm going to wipe off some of the excess product just into the rim. I really hate doing that. Like, I always end up getting it everywhere if I have to do that, and just try and do this here. For me as well, it's not even really covering everything that I want it to cover. Like, you can still, I mean, okay, no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like it's not quite covering all of the color. Like, you can see here, it's like peeking through. So then I'm having to go in and maybe like reapply. Oh my god, this is crazy. No, this applicator brush, I'm just finding it so difficult to use. And I'm like, how far do I even put this so that it doesn't look too mad? I mean, it's not the worst. It's not the worst. I've definitely went too far. MUAs, if anyone watches this, is going to be like, are going to be like, what is she doing? I am going to go ahead and take another brush and just try and balance that out a little bit. Probably just, I've got an eyebrow brush here, so I'm just going to try and use that to make the line neater. Okay. I mean, that's worked pretty well in combination with it. I don't know what you guys think, but I suppose we'll be able to tell by the finished look, because I often think that when you're doing your eyeshadow, like when you do one bit, until you've actually finished the whole look, you're looking at it like, oh my god, what have I done to my face? So I'll give it a try and we'll see. But first impression, like, quite difficult to use for a beginner. I have literally no idea how I would do it differently. I take off the product first, but then it seems to take off all the product. Like, I mean, if I show you, it's probably easier to say. So it comes out with tons on, and then if I just triangle like this, I've still got tons on. Yeah, and then it's like almost nothing. So it's like, it seems like it's one extreme to the other, which obviously isn't ideal. I'm going to let that dry and come back. Okay, so I got super bored waiting for that to dry, and I actually just packed it and tried to set it with my no filter. It's made a huge difference. Probably still a little wetter than I would like to start to apply glitters, but I'm super impatient, and I'm assuming that you probably are too. So let's just do this exactly how I think people would do it. So I'm going to go in now and do the opposite way around. Partly because if this turns out really badly because that's not dry enough yet, it means that I can pause. And also because I find that the like smaller details are more difficult. So if you've got other colours still on there, because I'll just obviously be wiping it after each use, if you've got other colours still on there, it's more noticeable if you've got a mix of colour here, whereas if you end up with a teeny bit of crossover, you can almost make it look like a blend further out. So I'm starting off with the shade Illusion from the Abracadabra palette, and that's where this one comes in. So I'm just gonna pick up. Okay, interesting. So I just wiped the brush. Do you call it a brush? I mean, they call it a brush, but it's like, I just kind of did this here, and it's obviously really picking up the glitter. It's also moving a lot of the glitter that's in there. So I'm patting it down to kind of pick that up as I go so that it doesn't go everywhere. Because that's obviously the big issue with glitters, is the amount of fallout that you can get. So now for precision. That's underwhelming. So So I'm just tapping. The big mistake that people tend to make with shimmers and glitters is they'll try and rub it along. You really can't do that with shimmers and glitters. If it does apply, which is like debatable, sometimes it will just like pretty much ping off your face. But if it does apply, a lot of the time what it will do is almost give it a metallic finish instead of like the glitter finish that you're kind of going for. It took a couple of attempts, but you can see that that has now started to apply to the inner eye. It's also taken quite a lot of product off of the cut crease, and a lot of the product just isn't shifting from the brush, I feel like. I'm just trying to dab and drag just a little, even though that's obviously not ideal, and it's still holding quite a lot of product, so I'm not really sure how I feel about her at all. The next shade I'm going to be using is orange, so I'm going to use Wild Out, which I have been super excited to use from this palette. So I'm going to use the same brush. I'm just going to flip to the other side for now, because I don't know how much I'm going to continue with this, and I would like to get as much as possible. It really seems to be working a lot better with the actual palette it came with, so it's possible that it's pretty much designed to go with their own formulation, and that's why. Oh, she's so pretty. Yeah, look, the issue is not as pronounced with this other glitter palette, so whether or not that reflects on the Revolution palette or whether it reflects on the brush, I can find out when I'm doing the other eye. This is not picking up anymore. Come on, Wild Out, come with me. But this is just gorgeous. I don't even know if you can see, like, it sort of has like that pinky reflection as well. It's just such a bold and beautiful shade. I do really want to pack it on there. I love glitters. I absolutely love glitters. So the next one I'm going to use is going to be Invite Only. I'm going to try and apply it directly. I do think that there is a chance I'm going to need to apply some of the Under the Sun colour underneath, because it's not quite as blatantly yellow. But I'm going to give it a shot. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Yeah, I love that. I don't think I need to apply anything underneath it. I am going to pack it just a little bit more because I just love like super intense. For the green, there is a green in the 24A Artist Pass palette, and it is called Palm Tree, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use Alchemy from this palette. I'm just going to go and wipe the brush though. Okay, so wiping the brush was super easy, 100% clean, and I pretty much just dragged it along. And I'm going to use it again to pick up Alchemy, and I'm going to try and use the same sort of motion I used in the Saweetie palette, and just dragging along rather than doing what I had been doing previously. And then again, I'm going to pat this on. I feel like this time it picked up a lot more product, and it's immediately packing right onto that eye. So it's potentially just my technique to begin with that didn't quite translate onto this. Oh my god, that's so nice. I love glitter. People are probably watching this like, that's, what are you doing? But like, how beautiful. Like, just all the glitter. I do feel almost like you can't see the pigment now. So I might need to review how much I blend out. But that's kind of the fun of makeup. You're playing around with it, you're finding what you like, what you don't like. And I think it's just fun, isn't it? It's just nice. The next shade that I have to do is the blue. So I have the choice between Magic Act and Insta Baddie, which comes with the Saweetie palette. I kind of like that we've went one in, one out. But the purple from the Saweetie palette, I think is called Mic Drop. It has just pure purple, and the one in the Abracadabra palette is called Sorcery, and it's actually got some silver in there. I think you can see it actually on the video as well. So I'm going to use Magic Act, but Insta Baddie I think would be a really nice colour as well. So I'm going to just do the same thing on the other side of the brush and try and pick up some of this glitter. And just apply that right onto the eye. and then the last part is going to be the purples. So these don't really like being put together. I feel like it's starting to push the other pigment off. Thankfully I've still got some on the other side, so I can almost like blend it over. But I feel like those two didn't want to be friends for a second there, competing. But then again, I don't usually pack like two different glitters next to each other. I would normally use one glitter on the lid, and that's pretty much it. And so the last shade, like I said, is going to be Mic Drop from the Saweetie palette. I really, really love this palette. Like, I hadn't even intended on buying it. Like, I just seen it pop up when I was waiting for another one to come back into stock. And I'm so glad that I got it. Like, I feel like people are probably sleeping on this one. But then maybe not, since I think it was out of stock a couple of times when I was on as well. So I'm doing something again I wouldn't usually do, and actually taking the glitter right out to the flick. And I normally keep it just on like my lid. So this is a bit of a jump from what my usual routine would be. I really miss my primer. I think it does help it stick a lot more. It stays where you want it to stay. And this one hasn't really translated for me. But what I'll do is I am just going to pack a little bit more of the matte pigment for the yellow and the orange, and I'm going to put a little bit more of the blue and purple glitter on and do the other eye off camera, and then I will be back. Okay, so this is with the second eye. I did try to use my flathead brush to apply, and I noticed that the fallout was insane. Like, I actually had to like, I still got some down here. I had to like be knocking it off my face. So I would say that this is actually holding on a lot better. I think the issue is that I don't have my glitter primer, and it just makes a huge difference, because you can even see there is fallout under this eye. And usually I have like no fallout. So there is a high chance that it's because I'm not using my glitter primer, but it just shows you the value of them. So this is what the eyes are looking like just now. I do need to finish up the edges just a little to blend them to look a little bit more like their friends, not even twins, just, you know, like acquaintances, because I've not quite given it the same edge. What I did do, which I thought was really cool with this brush, is I actually just like ran it along here, and I usually do that as well with my concealer and with my contouring, but if you just run along the edge, it just gives it a bit of a sharper edge. Ideally when you don't still have product on it like I do right now, but you'll notice that I already made a bit of a difference to how that line is going. And then, like I said, I'll continue to do that when I'm doing my contour and conceal, because you only start with like your foundation on. You should never have your full face when you're starting to do your eyes, because then when anything does fall down, it ruins like your whole entire life for that day. Maybe I'm a little dramatic. It feels like it ruins my life. But yeah, so this is where we're at just now. I am going to do a little bit of black liner. I'm going to do mascara, and I'm going to do my conceal and contour. I'm going to do that off camera and come back and show you what the finished look will look like when you've actually just done all those little finishing touches. Okay, so this is a finished look. I used the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour palette to do my cream contour. I used a Monkey highlighter, which, to be honest, like, it's nice, but it looks like it's going to be super, super intense in the pot. I'll just show you. And then it kind of dies down to almost nothing. Nice if you just want a kind of luminescent look, and I guess because this is already quite a bold look, it's a nice enough highlighter to use with that. The lipstick I've used is part of the Kiko Stylo line. I swear by them. I think I've got like 4 shades. My favourite is shade, I think it's 13, and it's always sold out. Like, every time I'm in London, I'm like in that shop in Oxford Street trying to find that one shade, and it's never there. For my liner, I used the Milk Makeup Shadow Liner. It's good because you can blend it out and make it more of a smoky finish, but also because of the tip, which looks like this, it's super easy to almost stamp on that liner and get super close to your waterline, because with some looks I'll take the liner right up, like almost like up onto my lid. But like, I didn't really want to overwhelm with the black. Like, I love the colours from this. I really want the colours to be the part that stands out. But I also managed then to do a little bit of my cat eye, which, as you can see, is pretty sharp. So yeah, this is a finished look. I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously we got there on the long way round, but that's kind of what this whole channel is about. So it's like, I'm not a makeup artist, I'm gonna make mistakes like you can make mistakes, so like I just think it's nicer to have someone you can relate to, because a lot of the beauty bloggers that are online are perfect and I'm like, good for them, but I just can't even replicate what they do. Like I try and I look crazy. And I'm all about like having fun with makeup and stuff like that. So part of what I do in this channel is talk to you a little bit about the brands I have used. Morphe are a great brand for inclusivity. You'll see if you look at the swatches on their site, they generally have 3 tones of arms in order for the swatches, so you can see a little bit of how it might actually translate onto different skin tones. Obviously there are more skin tones than just those 3. I'm personally paler than the whiter one, and I know obviously there are a variety of tones within, but not every site's doing that, and I think it's definitely a great step, and they do offer a wide range of skin tones in their foundations and things like that as well. So in terms of inclusivity, they are really kind of representing. They do have a lot of different collabs and they deal with people from LGBTQ plus population, from different minority populations, and just, you know, like people that we like and support as well. So it's nice that they're like responding to their consumer base. For Revolution, they are actually really well known as being an affordable and inclusive brand. I would say their Conceal and Define foundation, which I had used at the start of this video, is really easy to apply. It's kind of like a second skin and it actually does conceal. My pores pretty much disappear when I put this on. I think it's exceptional, and it exists in 60 shades. So it is really competitive in terms of being an inclusive brand, which is amazing. We shouldn't really be having to put pressure on brands at this point. Like, they should be inclusive anyway, but I do think it's important to highlight where brands are doing a better job, and promoting brands that are supporting that kind of thing. So I would highly recommend going on to Revolution and taking a look at their products. For the cut crease product, I had said in this tutorial, I found it very difficult to use. It was a lot of product came on, but then I switched and used this brush here. And I found that applying it on this eye was so much easier than applying it on this one, purely because I used my own brush rather than theirs. So the product itself is great, but maybe just not using their applicator is my final kind of thoughts on that. But yeah, so here we are. Thank you so much for watching. That is the end of the tutorial for today. You can hit subscribe down below if you enjoy my content, please. Thank you. And you're more than welcome to DM me, email me, drop me some comments, any of the above. I'm here for supportive comments or constructive criticism. So if you think there is something that I am doing wrong or misrepresenting, please tell me, and in a constructive way, so that we can actually all learn together and move forward. I think it is super important. But yeah, thank you very much.